Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Braden Books. Today, we're going to talk about books. A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. If the cover doesn't say it all. Came out in 2015, and yet here we are, still making reading vlogs about it. It's so hyped because it's allegedly the most heartbreaking book ever, and is almost like torture porn if you put yourself through it. So I thought, on this lovely rainy day, why not delve into some depressing shit, right? I actually specifically chose to do this 3 days before New Year's Eve because I want to leave this book in 2020. I figured this year was insane enough already with everything that's happened, including the pandemic. So why not kind of read this depressing book? I'm a little nervous that I'm gonna end up looking like this dude. I've never done a reading vlog before. This is my very first one, so bear with me. I don't know what to expect. I'm not gonna like read the whole thing on camera, but I will try to read it authentically, and as things happen, relay it back to you. I'm actually going to make some English breakfast tea because I feel like tea is a good thing to switch into for this read. I'm gonna cozy on up in my adorable hoodie, which is from Fashion Nova. Sponsor me. Anyway, they have a lot of cute shit for like reasonable, affordable prices. So we love a good price drop. Well, I was watching my vlog the other day and like my eye sockets are like super droopy. Here's to droopy eye sockets. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. The book's 800 pages, so hopefully it's not 800 minutes, but let's get into it. Oh my gosh. I had a lot of Chinese food on Christmas Day, and I don't think my body's used to that much grease. I literally have like this pain in my stomach, and I thought it was a stomach ulcer, and I'm 95% sure it's just gas, but it's not going anywhere. TMI. A Little Life, you guys. We're starting it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna... Are we though? Yeah, no, you want to leave this behind in 2020, right? Leave it behind. Leave it behind, right? Leave it in 2020. Except don't leave the chopstick. That shit's necessary. My lips are so dry. Do you hear this rain? It's actually gonna be lovely like ASMR for you guys. Nature's ASMR. Stop staring at the viewfinder, Braden. I have to take the sleeve off though because I don't like reading hardcovers with the sleeves while I'm reading them. It's like a weird tradition. I don't know. Are you guys that way? I am. And that's all that matters. I also wonder what you guys use for bookmarks. I like mine to be personal. So mine is my friend Stephanie's Christmas card from last year. It's adorable. She has a kimono on, and she was actually in Japan, in Kyoto, when this was taken. And this is the friend who actually bought me the Black Flamingo. So she's fucking awesome. All right, I'm really postponing reading this. The colors are kind of sexy, though, on this spine. Hanya Yanagihara. I know what that bitch looks like, and she looks like someone who's gonna make me hurt. Should I read this out loud to you guys? This is how reading vlogs go, right? That's not great. It does smell so moldy. There's a part called the happy years. I've been told that they're not so happy though, so. Why am I doing this to myself? This is a thick ass book. Lisp in Ard Street. Lisp Inard. It's because one of the characters is gay. Homophobic. I'm really having a hard time getting into this book. Mainly because I just had like 2 cups of coffee today, and then also this tea, which I'm hoping will help, but actually it's just making me like really ADD. Okay. So, a little life. Let me tell you. I have just gotten to part 3, which is Vanities. I am 210 pages in, so I have about, 500 something to go. I'm actually kind of loving it. I think Hanya Yanagihara does a really good job of fleshing out these characters. I'm actually like pretty impressed with the short amount of time that I've read. I feel like I know these people. I'm gonna try not to do spoilers or anything like that. For those of you that do not know the setup or the premise, we follow 4 guys: JB, Malcolm, Jude, and Willem. They are best friends living in New York, trying to make their lives happen. They're around the cusp of 30, and you kind of just follow the ins and outs of them. And so this has mainly been exposition, seeing what they do. We have the artist, the architect, the actor, and of course the lawyer. Fitting that the lawyer is the most unhappy, but I mean, they all are, and they're all struggling to find their paths. I don't know what much more to say in this part of the update because I'm not wrecked yet. I definitely think that a lot has been alluded to. There's a big trigger warning for self-harm in this, by the way. Like, I've had 2 cups of tea. My stomach is still acting funky, and I'm 95% sure I did get food poisoning because I texted my friends who I had dinner with, and she also said that her stomach has been fucked up. So I can tell the main theme here is trauma and how it affects you as an adult. I can tell this is gonna be a bit of a hard read for me once we finally get to understand the rest of Jude's backstory. So far, it's just like a typical Amazon show, like, look at these people, they're struggling in New York, they're having problems, but they're gonna help each other, and they fight, and it's all about friendship, and growing up, but they still are there for each other. So far, one of my favorite quotes. You won't understand what I mean now, but someday you will. The only trick of friendship, I think, is to find people who are better than you are. Not smarter, not cooler, but kinder and more generous and more forgiving. And then to appreciate them for what they can teach you and try to listen to them when they tell you something about yourself, no matter how bad or good it might be. And to trust them, which is the hardest thing of all, but the best as well. Okay. Did you hear the faltering in my voice? Got a little emotional there. I feel like this is something I would study in high school. I'm just waiting for it to switch gears, so that's pretty much all I have to say. I figured there's 7 parts, so I might do it by 2s, little chunks, and then 3 for the last one.
What do you think of A Little Life, Chi-Chi?
What do you think? He could care less. I'm gonna brew some more
Tea?
and probably put this baby down for the day. I'm usually a binge reader, and I will say, You can't binge this. I'm gonna probably watch a bunch of Bridgerton. I've been postponing it, but I'm so excited. It's 9:20. It's 9:20. Okay, well, in that case, I might hit my weed pen and definitely watch some Bridgerton. Honestly, Steven Universe or anything happy. I think I'm gonna need to buffer that. So, I'm gonna leave you like that. It is Wednesday. I just got back from a hike. It was so great. I hadn't gone hiking for a while because I was scared to because of the pandemic, but I had my mask on. About 95% of the people had masks on too, so I was pretty happy. It was impromptu because it's right by the library where I pick up my things. And yes, I'm reading A Little Life, but I had to get a few on my TBR checked off. So this is impromptu TBR. Speaking of crying, Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. I've heard that Kristen Hanna is a hit or miss. This one I've heard is a hit though, so work. Circe, this horny big dick fairy book. A Court of Thorns and Roses. ACOTAR. I'm entering it soon. I also have the second one already. It's in transit, so can't wait. This is my first time reading a Sarah J. Maas book. I know. Sarah J. Maas' virginity is being broken with this, so hopefully it's nice. Be gentle, or not. I'm just saying, everyone on BookTube/Goodreads is like a whore for her, so... But I'm eager to see what everyone's like over, you know? Oh, looky dad. Okay, he's had enough. He's had it officially. Miss Mona. Oh, wow, I'm excited to read this. I've heard it's gonna be quite the ride. People loathe it or love it. Books with Lala loved this book, and I love Books with Lala, so maybe we'll be, you know, simpatico with this. I'm gonna make some tea because my tum-tum, it is 1000% some sort of food poisoning. But it's like light where it's just the stomach kind, so you know you're on your hike and then all of a sudden you get the gurgle bubbles, you know what I mean? And then you run to your car and you get back just in time. Going back to A Little Life. I'm not gonna lie, I woke up today feeling like a little depressed already from it, and I naturally am depressed sometimes, so I might have to stop this vlog at some point. And it might just become something entirely different. I don't know. This is our attempt, right? We're on this journey together. So wish me luck, pray for me, and I'll see you at the good years, which apparently aren't so good. I genuinely care about Jude so much. This is a traumatic book to read. I just don't understand how people can be so cruel to people. But I just want to give him a big hug. So anyway, I knew I would cry. I'm not like sobbing yet. It's just more of like a welling up, but I have a feeling I know how this is gonna end, and I'm just so glad that I'm leaving this book in 2020 because fuck. Here we are where we started 3 days ago. I just finished A Little Life. Fuck. Wow. I don't even know where to start. My cat's looking at me like, why are you crying? You haven't cried this much since Toy Story 3. I wanted to finish the book and then just get into it. I can understand why people are very reluctant to read this. It's not an easy read. But at the same time, I'm so glad I read this the last day of 2020 because it kind of makes you appreciate life and want to live it. Shit, I'm being very vulnerable with you guys. I was nervous to do this, but I want to because I think it's important to share these feelings that we have about art. And Hanya Yanagihara, you bitch. A lot of people are panning this as just torture porn. And I really want to ask those people if they've ever suffered from depression or suicidal ideation, because Hanya Yanagihara captured this perfectly. I'm not making this about me. We all have trauma. I had written this down. Hold on, I'm just gonna read it. I had written, these stories do exist, despite how much we want to believe some people find their happy ending. Some don't. Showing a story where it doesn't end happily, because it doesn't sometimes. And that's a truth and a reality, and some people don't want to live, and it's so tragic reading about that. Sometimes when you're prone to depression, you can feel like there's no point in existing. And I have been in a similar position in my life to Jude, where I have felt like because of certain things I've dealt with in my life, I've been a burden on my friends. And I just want to say that if you have had trauma, actually, while this is painful, it is almost a relief. And it's so cathartic. This is cathartic too, because, you know, this man spent his entire life wanting to not be alive because of what had happened to him as a child. And I think he always took that blame on. And I think you need to realize, like, the shit that happens to us as kids is so formidable to us and our growth as a person that it's kind of a good example of how you should treat kids or how you should treat humans, especially when they're formidable. There are so many trigger warnings in this book. So much happens. Violent rape, violent abuse, abusive relationships. But it's all surrounding the fact that these very bad toxic traits were instilled at a young age. I hate Caleb so much. I hate the priest, the father. I hate the doctor, all of the people in Jude's life who did these heinous things that they didn't even have any remorse about. I think Hanya Yanagihara, as much as people want to deny it, is showing people the negative qualities of the human existence and how difficult it is to just exist, but yet we do every day. We get up, we push past the negative thoughts, and we try to live with all of the shit, with all of the things that are slung towards us, all of the nasty stuff. And sometimes we win, and sometimes we lose that battle with depression, etc. Yeah, it's an uncomfy book. While yes, she was trying to apparently emotionally abuse us, and she really wanted us to cry, the tea of the matter is there are people who live this existence, and it is very sad. And if anything, I'm really glad that I read this because it makes me take stock of my worth. All the times that I thought I was nothing, and I told my friends this. I'm so happy to have friends in my life who are just as powerful as Willem, not the drag queen. This story, at the end of the day, is a story about friendship. Friendship is so important. I know my friends have helped me. A few years back, it was really dark for me. I'm not going to go into details, but it was a bad time for me mentally. Years of therapy, medication, friends, I've been able to kind of get back to what I know as Braden. But be good to your friends. That's what this book has told me. It's so strange. I really was like, you know, let's torture ourselves the final days of 2020 since it's been such a shit show. And the irony is, after I film this, after I post this, I'm going to go into 2021 with a new found exuberance for life. I mean, these are my impressions of the book. As you can see, I've basically haven't showered in 3 days. I went hiking and I've done things in between, but I've mostly been reading this. Would I recommend this book? No. Do I think it's an important piece of literature? Absolutely. It's so beautiful. It is so realized, so concrete, that when you read, the events feels like torture at times. But as I said, it's actually incredibly cathartic. And I actually, after kind of crying just now, like I said, I just really have a new lease on life. And I think whether or not she realized it, that might have been her intention too. Through the pain, there is joy. And sometimes there isn't. But, you know, everyone struggles. That's the whole point of this book. It's the beauty of that almost, how the human existence is so painful, and yet, like I said, we get up every day and we continue to live. It's a choice. It is an active choice to live. And also, I wanted to talk about the whole suicide ideation. I think is important to talk about, because every human, in my opinion, has had a moment of pain like that. And I think people feel, like Jude, that it's subhuman to feel these things or to not be able to handle your trauma. And I think this book does a really good job of showing what happens if you bottle up everything for too long. It's important. This is a very important book, especially with the mental health issues. Is it this like gay literature? No, not necessarily. And this is certainly not the gay book that makes me happy. Definitely not. This is one of the final quotes that I'll leave you with. He had looked at Jude then and had felt the same sensation he sometimes did when he really thought of Jude and what his life had been. As sadness, he might have called it. But it wasn't a pitying sadness. It was a larger sadness, one that seemed to encompass all the poor, striving people, the billions he didn't know, all living their lives. A sadness that mingled with the wonder and awe at how hard humans everywhere tried to live, even when their days were so very difficult, even when their circumstances were so wretched. Life is so sad, he would think in those moments. It's so sad, and yet we all do it. We all cling to it. We all search for something to give us solace. That is, in my opinion, the message of this book. I'm gonna go take a shower. That's where I kind of have my me time. I'm gonna let the water beat over me, and I'm just gonna sit in gratitude. I'm really thankful for reading this. Am I gonna get absolutely stoned later? Maybe. Maybe I'll sit in the pain for a while, but to be honest, I feel changed by this book. I feel like this is a book that I will always remember and that I'll go back to and then I'll probably annotate. I really thought it was going to be like a Requiem for a Dream situation where I wouldn't be able to like look at it again. But there is power in confronting that pain and a lesson to be had. So anyway, that is the end of 2020. This video will hopefully be going out before the bell hits. And by the bell, I mean the ball tonight. Here's to a happier 2021. Here's to living despite the struggles. I love all of you so very much. I know I'm new to BookTube, but I really, really am thankful for having this as an outlet. So many of you, whether or not you realize it, helped me. I was doing a reading sprint last night, and Mel and everyone else, and Jaleesa. It's nice to have a book family online of people that you don't know in real life, but you feel like you do. And I think, as we can say, in a little life, that is in fact the most important thing sometimes. Friends. Whether close or far, friends. Call your friends today. Text them. Say you love them. And your family. With that, Happy New Year! I'm so thankful to be alive.